see to find out if it's there. And it really,
Horrible people, Joe.
Yeah, I guess so.
You both are.
I have to say that and it's in that spot because they kept flying for a long runs to the nearby Pioneer Cemetery near my house sometimes. And there's vandalism there too.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of amazing that people would vandalize a headstone for the plane to.
I understand graffiti as an art form in certain applications, but tagging, I don't agree. Well, yeah, nobody's really taking it seriously. There's nothing artistic about it. Okay, well, that tag might be artistic in its own sense, but when you reproduce it 100 times on every signpost and building, then it just becomes junk.
Agree.
So it's just visual junk. But
I agree. And by the way, when that tagger is caught, I think he needs to get his special tag tattooed on his forehead.
Well, let's move not to theories, but problems with the stories. So all of those legendary. I just want to suss out a couple of them right off the bat. The town of
Stuff on the ocean floor, usually minerals. And apparently
in 1899 got its own post office. At that time, it was then called Stull after the
above the
so the town being named Skull, that's out.
Okay.
That's out right off the bat.
Well, unless Sylvester Stall used to be Sylvester Skull. Apparently, they found traces of things like that you would expect to find.
Do you remember the part that there was the one part of the legend of the mayor being stabbed?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out the town hasn't officially had a mayor,
like ever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's kind of too small to really have a mayor, don't you think?
It is. And
by the way, I assume the local police are like the county sheriffs, right? Because
I believe it's the county mounties. There's no actual Stull police force as far from what I could see.
I doubt it. Fuel, or at least the odor of jet.
Problem, unless they're saying, "Hey, we could call you the mayor." Don't call me the mayor. I know. And so anyway. All right. So I haven't been able to find any concrete evidence that the stairs and their cover exist.
Works, and they might not. They probably don't want to fill.
Is verifiable. But here's something I want to point out is that there may have actually been a set of
claim that they found it, and they're standing by their claim.
They claim that they.
Because if this church was built in the 1860s, think about it. It's Kansas.
You want a
it's
basement?
hot. You need to store food down there.
Well, but also
Kansas is lousy with tornadoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if everybody's at church and a tornado comes along, you hustle them into the basement and you hide there.
Yeah.
So there's a very valid reason why there might have been a set of stairs.
Oh, after they found a plane crash.
Okay.
It sounds like that's what they're saying. Okay, that's
that it wasn't there, but nobody ever finds them. So that's one thing that I want to point out.
Everybody's heard about this. They decided that
full stairs down, and if like the crypt or like the building structure above it had for whatever reason been demolished. Ballooned out into something like this. It's so hard to tell in a cemetery with a church in Kansas where,
I mean, there could have been, what is Marset, right?
in Marset, yeah. Or in Marset.
It's not a crypt, but what is the building that's above ground? Yeah, mausoleums. I mean, mausoleums have been put underground.
Oh,
so it could have been that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's why there was a set of stairs there.
It's hard to tell.
The last problem that I have with this whole story is the Pope. It's always the Pope.
Yeah, I know.
Remember that whole story about him diverting his plane?
I'm sure, yeah.
Didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
There's nothing that shows any record of his plane ever diverting.
Announced that they were like in Time magazine somewhere around that time. But nobody's ever been able to, north. Because remember, at first, it was just a series of...
Also, Pope Benedict, not the most superstitious of the popes.
No.
Pope Benedict? You mean John Paul?
No, wasn't it Pope Benedict at that point?
No.
In the 90s,
it was John Paul.
It was John Paul.
Pope's not going to be afraid of Satan. And, this story is like so many internet stories. They start out as a clean ship that's just come out of the ship longer. And so that's how they knew that it was arcing away from any barnacles. And,
Internet
barnacles, yeah. And that's what happens, I think.
Yeah.
So many of these stories.
Internet barnacles.
Yeah, internet barnacles. And so
Freeze for the day.
Yep,
yeah,
I
so
agree.
the Pope's story is yet another barnacle in this story.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the theories.
Finally.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Well, theory number 1. It could be real. Well, it could be. Don't give me that look.
Well, you're not coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Go through this. Is it there?
We're up.
There are a lot of stories.
Had figured it out and analyzed their
Locations. Now, strangely enough, none of them, the major ones that you find out there that are gateways to hell, none of them are in Kansas.
in a bit. Okay, and there's been another development.
Things, though, that are referencing gateways to hell in major populated areas.
Yeah, I mean,
Stoll is not.
Isn't there supposed to be an organization called LIGNET, which stands for Langley Intelligence Group?
I didn't see that one, but there's so many central major cities have them associated with them, and then major historic cities always have them associated with them. So there's these stories all over of the gateways to hell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Satan and you're going to have a gateway to hell, I mean, you want to put it in a major city because you're a lot closer to shops and services and stuff like that. I mean, you don't want to have it in the middle of nowhere.
Man.
I have they claimed in late March that
I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, but let's put that
in Pakistan.
And Langley, that would be from a theological standpoint. I don't know, is theological the right word to use? I'm not sure, but
philosophical.
Possible if Satan's real, and I'm not saying Satan is or is not real, but then what criteria would?
Or it might just be that they appropriated the name,
right?
Used to determine where to come out into the world at. I mean, this place is off the beaten path. I completely understand that. But, I mean, I've read all this stuff about these strange occult sites that are where Satan may come from. And if you think about it, okay, let's just say that there is some random point where all of this occult...
Apparently, I mean, there are
analogy I can come up with. Think about it from the standpoint of almost like radiation.
Comes to mind that are actually highly competent and
like radiation at that location, so then it becomes a hot zone. So then that could theoretically be a good place to come because there's all of the it's just embroiled with it, and it's just such a hotbed that might be a spot.
Pakistan.
Apparently, their strongest indicator for this is that there's a lot of like boneheads who would be easy pickings and good recruits, and so he senses that, so he just makes himself a little gateway to hell and comes out.
No, what I mean is let's say, and this, I'm making this up just to try to help foster this explanation. Let's say that there is satanic worship, and so there are there's offerings, there's
confided in it,
and so it's seeped in all of this really bad stuff.
I think that and that when you think about it, a 777 is a big
radar for another way to look at it.
Yeah.
So it's a ping. It's a ping.
Yeah. But I guess if we're gonna make that argument, then there are literally
on that thing, and not bother to tell the airplane company. Then Stoll. Yeah, and also there's no evidence whatsoever that there was ever any sort of satanic dark arts witchcraft. Was going to hijack a plane and take the crew hostage, take the planes.
I want to go back to what Devin said briefly, which is the stories always say that there are X number of gateways to hell. But do we know that's true?
No.
Why couldn't there just be gateways, plural, and there's no number to it?
Yeah, why can't the whole world be a gateway?
Well,
to
that's what I was going to say. I think the entire world is kind of a gateway to hell.
I mean, like it's just like that when you kind of go down that rabbit hole is a term that we use on this show a lot.
Hide the plane is they would force the crew.
Like smallest places in America, right? It's really small.
Very
right?
small.
Under every communication device on the plane is, so they can shut everything.
The population versus like the number of years it has existed, fairly low. So if we're saying that like this level of percent of
A good thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
equals
Corruption's a great phrase.
Satan's gate,
I'm sure it's
then like
yeah.
like seriously, just like wow, then there's a gate. Going would have, I mean. Me, it's like this. It's I talk about Occam's razor sometimes, but it is right. It's like either the entire world is a gateway to hell, which like Joe is willing to argue, and that's fair.
It is,
But so either we're gonna say the entire everywhere that human beings exist is a gateway to hell, or we're gonna say that is not a valid theory.
Yeah.
No, I'm willing to run with that.
And here's the deal: is Satan
It slipped out. I know.
They would have said, "Hey, U.S.
and so you never
favorite angel."
Yeah, exactly. And you never hear about
thing, and we know where it is.
Well,
so
yeah.
the deal.
I mean, Satan, if he does exist, I don't think needs a stairway or portal or anything else to visit the surface of the planet. I think he can get here.
God, they could be doing.
My religious studies are very weak, but I do remember having seen some things that I've read that when Satan was cast,
Another.
Yeah. So anyway, those are our three developments.
which was hell, he couldn't just come to Earth. He had emissaries that could come there. So then that would foster that idea of it had to be something special to allow him his visa for, a term that we use for access to get into the area for a limited duration of time. I don't want to go too far down this.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat this interpretation. There's so many ways that it can be viewed, but that is just, if
we're going to come back and rain some nuclear death on somebody.
I thought it was
the next one.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Which, again, is on the vein of it's real, but this vein says that the townspeople know it and they're covering it.
No, I don't think we agree with that one.
Okay.
I thought it was.
But I meant...
if this theory is valid, that means that the townspeople are all like demons, Satanists, worshippers.
You
right?
do watch Supernatural.
No.
No, I didn't agree to the alien one either, but...
Slipping out of time. People are covering up Satan's literal stairway out of hell. They are horrible human beings.
Or maybe they're demons. I mean, I think we need to go there and check it out and see if they have red glowing eyes.
We're gonna
and if they talk like this, then that'll be kind of a clue.
Or they live in fear of it. And let me run through some of the stuff that's been put out.
That was a no. That was a no, right?
Yeah, that was a total. I think we've already covered why they hate this story is broken. The damage, and no wonder they're peeved about everybody coming there. But in the reports that come out and the quote, the characters, the letter characters, that's what helped their case. They say they don't know where the story comes from. They say it's made up and it's not a character that can be read. That first line of it. But here's the thing that they've done that can raise some suspicions. This happened in 1999 on Halloween. Reporters from a local newspaper, and there was also reporters and a crew from a television station went to the graveyard, and they joined a bunch of onlookers who were hanging out, waiting.
Throwing bottles against the church?
No, they were outside of the And the sheriff's deputies were there, as evidently they are every year, a vertical line.
Yeah.
The area outside of the cemetery until 11:30 at night. And they, according to the story, they did this because a representative of the cemetery...
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to put the whole thing to bed and you want to say, listen, this is made up, stop coming here and stop. It was the 9th Augusta, which is the news guys in, and say, hey guys, we'll escort you with the police. You can hang out at this spot. Nothing happened.
Yeah, no Satan.
No nothing.
Well,
but instead, they shoot them all away as if they were sweeping it under the rug and hiding it all.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good strategy to put it all to bed. It's just to have the crews there, though. You know, some true believers would probably say something on the order of like, well, gee, there's one of the theories that was out there is that they were...
Yeah.
But at the same time, this doesn't mean there's any sort of... just transferred out and sent somewhere else, i.e. the Netherlands. The owner, you know, you don't know where the owner lives, but he probably lives like, you know, right next door or right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to go to bed, and so he just gave rise to this theory. But it was the owner. It wasn't the owner himself. It was actually Satan.
No, I mean, I think that, like, to build on Joe's more rational theories,
To the Netherlands, correct?
Well, no. See, the problem is that
the owner walk up to the police and say, I want everyone but the media to go home. I want to put this to bed. Let's let the media in. You escort them, and they'll prove that there's nothing going on here. No, you say, there's a bunch of people here. They're going to ruin my property. Send them home. And then they go home. You don't say like, oh, there's one film crew there that might be reputable. It's one person with a video camera out of like, who knows?
Just a TV news van, and it's emblazoned on the side. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It was a TV crew. They had their gear. They showed up with cameras in the whole 9 yards. It was reporters who were tagging along with them, but it's the newspaper and detachments to support another TV reporter. He's got the news van, and he's got all the news crud with him because he's going to try and report it and send it over to the station to make this kicked, and it's lost a bunch of men. So it stands out like a sore thumb from a bunch of yahoos in their pickup trucks drinking beer to a bunch of guys with cameras and somebody standing there with a microphone in front of the spotlight talking. That person is very obvious.
Is it like on YouTube or anything?
No.
I mean, so like it's hard to know. Like in 1999, that it was kind of that trend of like undercover reporting. Like, was it undercover reporting?
There's no reason to do.
Those 1,000 men I got was that it wasn't undercover reporting.
I mean, it's for me, it's hard to.
Legion.
Yeah.
Even though they're with the...
So, like, truly, if, somebody who owns the property lives, like, right there, and they're like, I'm trying to go to sleep, they say, hey, cops, on the...
See, I got the impression, the way I read it, that the person showed up.
That a representative of the people showed up.
That is the impression.
And there's a problem of the whole that they were officially according.
She's like, it's midnight, crap, like I got called out of bed by these rich people to go tell everybody to go home. I'm going to tell everybody to go home.
That's a very good point. But
but remember something else too is that and that they can boot them off the property because it's private property, but right next to it is a road, which is public property, and so if people really wanted to stay there and watch what the goings on and see if Satan appears, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Well,
so I don't know.
The Legion itself was maybe stationed at
Street View. The building itself is offset from the road.
100,000 men over to help in Britain.
Now that's fallen down, it's kind of out of sight.
Yeah, you can kind of see it from some of the satellite photos. Its footprint, but it's not right there. It's a ways away. So it's 5,000.
Sorry, meant at that
fair bit away to be able to see anything at night with a video camera.
Yeah, but if Satan's like appearing on Earth, he's probably like there's a light show.
And he probably glows
What,
in
it's
the
a
dark.
disco?
Or, you know, if the
Well, but the thing about it is Satan is there depending on why he's there. If he's there to visit his deformed child that's buried there, then he's going to walk him on the tombstone. So you take a little night vision gear, maybe with a little magnifying capability, and you'll spot Satan if he's there.
Be a hot
so
spot.
we're just sending Joe on location.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well let's keep going here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so the next theory is you're not going to believe this. It's a total hoax.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
or
Tell us.
Joe's, gone a little ahead of us, which is the big red flag. 1950s, supposedly, there was a professor at the University of Kansas who made the story up about the gateway to hell. Is because here's the thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, and evidently he told it to his students continually until it caught fire, but I don't know why someone would intend. For the most part, in general, things were good. Unless he really had it in for someone in that town or just the town itself. Like, he must have hated somebody.
Or he saw the town name Skull and thought, hey, that's kind of like Skull. I'm going to make up a creepy ghost story about it.
Alternately, I mean, he just picked a small place that he didn't think any of his students would be from.
The University of Kansas, that's not, I can't imagine it's too far away. I actually don't know how far away. Because not everybody was happy.
Enough people kind of knew about that it was real, a real place, but
it never is. You come in and you take over a people. And
I don't know.
Regardless.
Actually, it would be interesting. I mean, if this happened in the 50s, it would be interesting to look at the population tables.
Mm-hmm.
Going with her theory that he just picked the very smallest town in Kansas he could find as the center.
And every in small detachments. That is because
statistically speaking, it's less likely he's going to have a student from this town because it's the tiniest town in Kansas.
And it's maybe it's a farm community, so like they don't send a whole lot of people to college.
in the 50s, yeah.
I think it's a fair thing to say.
Well, regardless of what could have been the reason that happened from this professor, the story supposedly was repeated every year to his stakes of earlier emperors, where there would be either 1972 or 1974 in one area. They would take a legion from the archives to figure it out, but I couldn't get the old archives from the university to come up. But the university newspaper reported what was going on, but evidently their back issues are just not there. I couldn't get it. Maybe if I'd pretended I was a student and tried to log in, I might have found a way, but I couldn't get it. But would write point, it started gaining traction, and the first report of people showing up en masse is 1978, when supposedly it's reported that 150 people, we gotta guess they were all college students, showed up to see what would happen. From there, it's grown to what we have now of 500 people every Halloween showing up and trying to get boarding police. Force anymore.
Sure.
So the smart.
We talk about doing this sometimes.
Oh,
I'm like every once in a while. Always a outlying detail in a story that one of us will bring up, and we're like, man, that sounds like something somebody was just like, oh, it'd be funny if we could see if that could be part of it.
They might have sent some forces over to the Netherlands, or maybe an alternate website, and start posting this stuff and just tacking stuff on, like so many people do.
And
I think
it's not outrageous to think that
join some.
An
as
experiment.
a teaching moment or as an experiment or whatever, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, it could be. It could be he wanted to start an urban legend.
Yeah,
and
it's possible.
Doesn't everybody?
And so it would be a great, and maybe he did it for that reason. Maybe he started this little urban legend, and then he would say, so the student class of a couple of years down the line or something like that, he says, okay, have you guys heard this story about the
A roughing towel in a plate is a weird.
Okay, you tell me about this story. What have you heard? And then they tell him it's
a weird souvenir because usually
myself, dude. It's just as a sort of psychological experiment.
But I would think that if that were the case, if that exact then off of the roof, oh yeah, I was in that guy's class. And he admitted to making it up. But there's nothing that I could find the equivalent of taking the light switch. One of those stories that is really, really, really hard to find a lot of concrete information on. But I did not see anything that said that he admitted to making up. As it is, I couldn't even find the name of the professor who supposedly made it up. So to me, the professor making it up, it's just as likely as the other theories because I don't have a new apartment.
You've never done that?
This group that we have right here is that you have just said, more of a, hey, my house got destroyed to mess with the students is just as likely as Satan being real and coming to the
And by the way,
they're both equally reasonable.
Based on what I have to
house and make it a part of my new house. I mean, that it's possible.
You're Satan.
Yeah, I thought he was one of the guys from Bad Magazine.
Yes, viruses.
Yeah, we had this. I remember this one back in the 50s.
Nobody could understand him.
I wish everybody.
But only the goth kids passed the class.
I like that you're not going to mention the faces that Joe makes when he.
Oh no, I don't look at him when he makes those faces. I actually put my papers in front of him.
Yeah, when I do my demonic voice, I'm kind of scary all the way around.
You really are. Well, I mean, as kind of a final thought.
You have the only real evidence that they got transferred to the Netherlands is
my final thoughts are I personally don't.
Yeah.
We don't know kind of stories. I mean, I admit fully there are things that I have heard and seen that I can't account. The third theory, which is that the Ninth Legion, which is or relocated. And this says
essentially confirmed on the books that he was successful in hacking into the U.S. their ranks during this time,
Talk about it, how he managed to do some of it, but I think Joe mentioned some of this. He wrote a script, I think it was a Perl script. And he wrote a Perl script that thanks, Joe.
It's not like there's going to be 5,000. They're going to be dwindling.
Login name. So not even a customized name. Therefore, using the, which is nothing. And that's how he was getting into their computers. And he said when he was in there, because they say here, they describe McKinnon's hacking as intention and calculated to influence and affect the U.S. government by intimidation and coercion. And then a few years later,
They'll just send you.
saw other hackers moving around in the system.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Might well be that if they had some bad luck.
Some of these things or delete some of these
So
files
he
that
says
they
he
say.
wasn't solo.
How do you
No, he
see?
says
How
he
do you
was
see other
solo.
hackers?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Then the word gets out, and
Like the Caledonia one. He says he saw other hackers. Well, the entire planet, conversely, is a gateway to heaven.
exactly. But you can do things anywhere.
Some files, but I can delete all the files completely.
And we all do it at the end together. I mean, you can see how
Yeah.
thinking sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Insufficient data to formulate a reply.
What?
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hello humans, my name is Chabuzo, and I am joined today by my sister Beans. Say hello Beans.
Hello, Beans.
We are Joe's feline owners and feel that we don't get enough recognition on this show. Because of that, we are taking over today to show you that these humans are not as perfect as they pretend to be. We are now going to present how often they don't get it right and how much we add to this show.
Sorry, folks. Sorry for the interruption. I've got a cat walking across my sound equipment right now. Yeah, we actually have a studio cat whose name is Beans. Hey, Beans. How's it going, buddy? Oh, hi there. Time for a little unsolved mystery action.
Woohoo!
You guys ready for this?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Yeah. So this is something that's actually kind of in the public domain, but there's a certain unexplained portion of it. So let me start from not sort of the middle of the story. There was in the early 70s there was a break-in at the Hughes Corporation.
Are we gonna introduce ourselves?
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Hey, folks. I'm Joe.
Devin.
You want to just start from the top?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you might. Well, you probably would find it on our website. But to be honest, I've already forgotten our website.
Oh Lord.
Thinking Sideways Podcast at Gmail.
Tom.
Okay. All right. September. Oh, go ahead and do it. Yeah.
So on September 7th, there was a full male.
Really?
Oh Lord.
Hey, speaking of full mail, zip. Okay.
Can be found at our website, which is Thinking
Podcast. Thinking Podways.
and are constantly berated by radiation.
Bombarded?
Let me start that over.
It's your cat.
Tell him not to sharpen his claws on the cat. That's what he's doing.
Leave that in, please.
Friggin' cat. Okay, that's our studio cat, Chabuzo. Being a bad boy.
Hello humans, my name is Chabuzo, and I am joined today by my sister Beans.
A young man is checking his musket trap.
Muskrat?
I want to know what a musket trap looks
Yeah,
like.
I know. So I want to build an AR-15 trap. I'd rather get a whole bunch of AR-15s than a bunch of muskets.
All right, everybody ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Where should I start from?
A young man.
Yeah.
A young man is checking his musket trap.
Oh, that's going on the blooper reel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me think. Hang on. No.
Wait.
No.
We're gonna orbit on out of here.
Yeah.
That's probably the best that we're going to come up with.
Now let's fire the retros and get back down to planet Earth. Oh, that was lame.
Is this going on the bloopers reel?
Probably.
Yeah. Retros. Oh.
Oh man, the dad joke. They did a reproductive.
Reproduction. Yeah. Let's put two of them in a box together and see if they have sex.
Yeah, we end up with.
Yeah. So we'll have links to those things for you guys to look at.
Where are we gonna have links for that?
We're going to have those like on our website, I think, which is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. Yeah. And
I feel like that was the first time that he did it successfully on his own, though. Is the thing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like push you
No,
to like
it's cool.
be ending the show. I just felt like that's what you wanted.
No, I was about to trend that direction, so it's cool.
Perfect.
Bloopers reel. Here we go.
All right. So anyway.
Wouldn't the cabbie have mentioned, like, oh yeah, there was a woman with an 8-inch tall, or 8 foot.
With an 8-inch tall. Yeah, no, there was. You gotta start
8
over.
foot?
Yeah.
8 inch.
8 inch.
8 inch.
8 inch.
Yeah, you want to do that again?
8-inch foot tall tree.
Mm-hmm.
8-inch foot tall tree.
8 inch tall and 8 inch. Yeah.
My brain was trying to tell me to say.
Let me get my phone book. Hang on.
Yeah. Her name was just Jane
You have a
Doe.
phone
That's
book?
I actually
That's
do.
a bit. Next week on Thinking Sideways, we discover why Joe still has a phone book.
You know, actually, one reason I have one is, have you ever gone out on the web and they say, oh, you can go to and just look up somebody on the web and get their phone number? Well, no, it's a huge pain in the butt because you find them and it's like, oh, phone number link. You click on that and you go to this page that says, hey, what's your credit card number? We'll sell you this phone number.
True.
Do you guys know where to
no,
go?
I
I
know
don't
exactly what
have
you're talking
reason to call people that don't make their phone numbers readily available to me. I'm going to be honest with you.
For my job, sometimes I have to track people down. And so-
That's why he's always murder.
Yeah, there we go.
Coming out.
yeah, like
There we
like
go.
today I spent a bunch of time trying to find a guy's phone number.
He's into wet work,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I know, and there's somebody I needed to talk to for work-related reasons, and but it took me a long time, and I finally got a number that finally wasn't disconnected, and I called and left a message. I haven't heard back, so I don't know if that was his real number or not. Yeah. So anyway, you got that part out.
Theories, apparently. No.
Well, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, and I'm joined in this episode by. All right, let's try it again. All right.
That was the best stutter ever.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Okay, pause. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways. Another heart. Okay, pause.
See, you're not going to be the only one on the blooper reel now.
Good.
What are we doing here?
Here's the facts.
We're doing the severed feet of hellish sea.
Oh my God,
Say
those
that
severed
again?
seats.
How do you say it? How do you-
Salish.
Salish, okay.
So anyway,
Uncropped
Stop.
photo.
Stop saying so anyway.
oh yeah, right. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start with the same photo. Okay,
Okay.
pause. Yes, I'm Joe.
Will you shake your cat? For the love of God, the other day I was listening to a recording, I was like, whose phone vibrated? It sounded like a phone buzzing, and I realized now it's a cat.
What happened is that in 2011, a group of
Bozo, shut up.
Gotta hunker down.
yeah, buddy.
Bored.
He's a talkative little guy. Okay, let's start from the top here.